But you want that freaking launch.
Oh, we might be live.
Oh, we're live.
Hey.
Okay.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to CNA Weekend Recap.
+1.
We normally come to you on Sunday nights, but we were watching Into the Spider-Verse and did not get to do a show last night. But it was such a cool movie, we decided to come and talk to you about it on a Monday night.
Yeah.
So
it was sold out for the entirety of Sunday, and we squeezed in on a late night Sunday.
Pretty much the whole weekend. It
Yeah.
seems to be like it's going to be a very, very popular movie, which is good for Marvel, good for Sony, good for animation.
Everybody. I mean, what has it made? Already 60 million stateside?
That was just the first, Thursday night.
Wow. Okay. No, I didn't
it's
realize
gonna
that.
make
I thought it was
a couple of $100 million, I think, in the first weekend.
Jeez. Yeah. So it's very clear that this is a franchise that is going to continue, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, let's get the first thing out of the way, then we can talk about the movie. But this was a piece of art, just like the first one, but they even took some more artistic licenses with the animation this time.
I feel like they had a little more time. It's almost because, I mean, this movie's been in production for 3 years. And I think there was a little more care and time put into it. I'm not slamming the first one. I'm saying I think it was better. When it comes to visually. Took a lot more risky background, neat effect things. That's just like I said when I watched the first one. I feel like I was in somebody's head. This was so intricate and special. I can't even articulate the words I'm trying to say.
I mean, this is from our local artist right here who understands that the effects that they use and everything served a purpose, I thought. Just entirely. But Justin and Ken are both right. I mean, it was a visual spectacle, and it was just beyond belief, even more so than the first one, which I was blown away by that one to begin with.
It carried the whole "you're reading a comic book" thing even further.
Yeah.
With the little text boxes that gave you substance to what's going on. I mean, if you've read a comic book, those felt so freaking normal to see on screen. I thought they did an even better job of making you feel like you've just been sucked into a comic book come to life.
None of that takes you out of the screen.
No, it didn't at all.
Inside that book.
It was wonderful. I want to buy it just so I can pause on those asterisks, figure out what they're talking about, and then go track down the comic book. This is the first appearance of so-and-so, all that stuff.
ASM 90. That was fantastic. They referred to the canon event of the death of Captain Stacy as ASM 90, which is the comic book where Captain Stacy dies.
Nice.
Yeah, and do we want to jump right into the idea of canon, or do we want to kind of get there a little bit?
We don't have to go over the story or anything. Is that what you're asking?
No, not the canon of Captain Stacy, but the idea of how this movie uses canon as a plot point, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, the gist of this whole movie is that the multiverse of Spider-Man have created their own TVA that oversees the sacred timelines of Spider-Man.
Right.
And it's very interesting because
they call it the SVA,
the spider.
Spider-Man variant.
Yeah, I guess. But it's really interesting because it is not what I expected going into this movie. I didn't expect it to, basically break the fourth wall this hard. But it's the idea that every Spider-Man or Spider-Person or Spider-Thing or whatever you want to call it has to have a death in the family. An uncle dies or a Stacy dies, and they show us all these scenes across the multiverse of them dying, and we get a lot more than we thought. We get live action Spider people losing Uncle Ben and that kind of thing. I thought that was amazing. We get I'm blanking on the first guy. Tobey Maguire. We get him watching Uncle Ben die.
Sorry, Andrew Garfield.
Exactly.
The woman in the quick rip that the Spot comes out and talks to, isn't that the woman that Garfield's Spider-Man interacted with?
I'm not following where you're at.
Yeah, I'm blanking on that too, man. sorry.
Okay.
I've been saying
He's
it.
probably
I
right,
see it
I'm
again.
just gonna
I've
say.
been saying I see it again. So.
Yeah, there were a lot of, cutaways and things that, you would need to examine this film and just sit down and write everything down. But, that's what we want in these kind of movies, especially this one, where you have multi-spiders.
Yeah,
You
so many
know?
spiders and flashbacks and multiverse scenes that we saw. I did expect to see at least a Venom touch or talk or I did teaser of some kind.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing it at all. It might have been there and it blew past me.
No,
But I did expect to see it something.
I don't
but-
think we saw any Venom in this movie at all. And that's a good point. Maybe they're just going to stay away from that a little bit until we get further down the line.
They're making the third one right now.
Yeah.
It's in production, full production.
Woo! But they might be staying away from that in this trilogy. They might have a plan for it down the road. We've never seen Miles Morales with a symbiote. That might be part of it. These spiders we've seen so far, never seen a symbiote with them.
Yeah.
So who knows? They could do another trilogy with the symbiotes and the poisons and the venoms and that. I don't know if you read those comics. Either one of y'all, it was really interesting, but I think they are just put this squarely on the multiversal Spider-Man for this one. I think they're staying away from anything else filtering in. And I think it's a good call.
I mean, given the way the movie ended, we know kind of who the villains are of this trilogy moving forward.
Yeah.
Which surprisingly was Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dictator kind of fella.
Yeah. He's one who adheres to canon, as he literally puts it. And that's interesting. If you were someone who viewed your life, I wouldn't be like, that version of me has to adhere to canon because that's how it goes.
I feel like that the animated universe has these rules that don't apply to like the MCU. They're calling it canon. I think what do they call it in the MCU? They call it the timeline, I guess. And
Yeah, the sacred timeline
yeah,
and Loki.
This one, it's once again we're inside a comic book.
Yeah,
So
that
they got
is
their own rules and terms, and I mean it's just
100%. That's a great way to put it.
Freaking awesome, man!
Yeah.
How wonderful was this movie?
Oh gosh.
So
just,
We do. I keep saying this. Y'all heard me say it. We don't deserve Miles Morales.
No, we
that
really
character is just. He was that way in the comics. He's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I kind of like it better than Peter Parker at this point. I
Well,
know that's a classic, but it just the growth of the character. It's just I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, well, we have way more experience and a longer time with Peter Parker. There's been, just tens and dozens of artists and authors who've written him, so he's not as fresh anymore. They've
Miles
done
is fresh.
everything. Yeah, and
Miles is
I think that's
fresh.
part of it.
Yeah.
He was the only person to survive the Ultimate Universe being destroyed. He came over and he is Spider-Man. Peter's cool with that. So it's a different take on it's that again. What engaged readers with Spider-Man originally was he was a teenager. He was this kid in high school.
Miles doesn't have this damn guilt that Peter Parker has.
That is true
It's
too.
overwhelming guilt. It's just like he's not doing it. Great power comes great responsibility. He's doing it because it's who he is.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm helping people because I help people.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying. It's
No.
just different. It's not that guilt that Peter Parker has. Miles just doesn't have it.
And I think that's a nice takeaway from it is that it's an unburdened character who is a hero because he just wants to be a hero. I mean, shit.
It's like it's not even like he wants to. It's like a force of nature. It's like who he is.
Yeah.
It's not like he wants it. It's just like this is me.
And-
especially by the end of the movie.
Oh
He
yeah,
mentioned
certainly.
He seemed so comfortable in his own skin. He was like, I'm not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
I beat all those Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He did.
I mean,
dude took out hundreds of freaking Spider-Man on his way out.
And I think it was interesting. What I thought of is, amongst all those Spider-Man, we never saw anyone who had those Venom powers. His invisibility, his shocking. Any of that. Like he is
That's just
one
like
and
back
only
to
in
the
a
point.
way.
He's a Spider-Man that wasn't supposed to
He's a
happen.
variant.
Yeah, 100%.
What if he carried the mutant gene and that's why he mutated differently when the spider did?
And we're just gonna
I'll take it.
segue that to the mutant
Okay, so stick with me for a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna take y'all on a ride.
I'm
Hey,
looking forward to
dogs,
it.
chill out.
We have a couple dogs underneath us that are dogs.
Okay. So we know that this story ended on a cliffhanger. And so we know we're getting one more of these movies that will wrap up some type of spectacular fly through the multiverse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, we also heard word in the past week or so that they've greenlit a live action Miles Morales movie. Now, in this movie, they took extraordinary lengths to tie that universe with the universes from the movies that are all established as MCU canon now. What if the end of the Spider-Verse movie lands him in the MCU, and that is the springboard for his live-action introduction?
Like he just shows up in live action, the actor comes through whatever you want to call those, and he pops up in
And that's
New York City.
the Miles we already know. That we've seen 3 movies establishing that character is now just in the MCU.
You know, there is in this movie
Interacting with
alone.
Tom Holland.
We've seen live action characters in this animated movie
That's
multiple
what I'm saying.
times. That there is.
Sony and Marvel have said they're going to work together with the Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah, that is 100% possible. He just shows up.
Well, you know, he's being told it's the foregone conclusion that his dad's going to die and all these things. He's captain, he's going to die. And Miles is like, he's going to break the rules. We know he's going to change things.
We've seen him break canon.
He's already changed things because he's not supposed to exist. So, and he's determined enough. I think if anybody could stop what's supposed to happen from happening, it's going to be this dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, why the hell not?
Yeah.
Let's talk about all the different Spider-Men that we saw. And I want to start with the Daisy one. What was his... He didn't have...
What one?
Indian... Moomba Town or whatever it's called.
Moonhattan or Moonbahattan. It was basically, it was Manhattan.
Yes. That was a cool character.
It was. I
thought he
loved
was
it.
visually just spectacular.
I had a hard time understanding him. I think it was that a lot of people are complaining about that character scenes. Really, it's the music, if I may. The music was so loud and it was overpowering in a lot of his scenes. You may not have noticed it, but I did, where I had a hard time understanding him because of music. There's been a lot of complaints online about that. The soundtrack is not balanced with the audio, but I had myself, but I don't have great ears, so I had a hard time understanding his dialogue, honestly.
Well, interesting. I'll have to pay attention next time I watch it.
I really enjoyed him.
It was Bill Pender.
Was it really
From Deadpool.
Oh my god! No, I love the whole top thing, and he was shooting
Okay, that's
webs.
why I brought him up because I wanted to ask about that. Was it a yo-yo? What was his little weapon he fought with?
As far as I'm concerned, or the only thing I know about it is it's kind of one of those like hippie festival toys where you have like 2 rods with with a string in between them, and you have the little top, and you can spin it around and do tricks and stuff like that. You know, kind of like those
hippie
devil
toys.
sticks and stuff that they have. What? I'm not saying he's a hippie. That's the only
Hippie
reference I
toys
can
is not
put.
going away. I'm not gonna let it die.
All right, fine. I don't care. I'll buy a bunch of them.
You remember those? Remember those from Woodstock? All the hippies out there with their strings and their.
Don't take the brown acid. But no, you know what I'm talking about, like concerts. and
Yeah,
stuff.
I know.
Yeah, you've been there at those hippie concerts.
I have indeed. So I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know what that was, but it was a cool replacement for webbing that he fought with.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, and we saw a lot of variants of Spider-Man. You know, of course we saw 2099 Miguel, who was awful.
Yeah.
Really, because he screwed his own. I mean, he was the problem to begin with. That's why he never wanted anybody else to change things again. But God, what were some of the other ones?
It was
Jake
cool that-
Peralta is the Scarlet Spider.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes, the Scarlet Spider. I loved his just banging his head against the wall, just the angst-ridden.
Talking about Ben O'Reilly.
Yes.
Okay.
That
Scarlet
one.
Spider's a different character. Yeah, he's not.
What did he call him? Scarlet.
The Scarlet Spider's got like these spikes that come out of his wrist.
Interesting.
He's a different clone.
Oh. Well, shit.
I-
Okay.
I-
Yeah, we're talking about Ben
I-
O'Reilly.
To correct that, because he's listed as Scarlet Spider
Okay.
on IMDb.
Yeah, with this like torn off sleeve, gym poncho or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Overshirt, hoodie. Yeah, hoodie. That's the word. But I mean, we saw a lot of them.
Lot of them.
You know, I particularly liked the original, not the original, but Peter Parker we'd seen from the first animated movie, who now has a baby who is a spider, just running around.
With Mary Jane's red hair.
Yes. I think her name was Mayday, honest to God.
That's what it sounded like they
It
called
did to me. And he didn't give her spider shooters, but, you know, she kept calling stuff.
We did get a tease. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Spider-Man 2099. I love that comic package. It's
Yeah.
such a cool ass looking design. I mean, one of the greatest costumes of all time, in my opinion. Just so freaking so cool. It was cool to see some of Miguel's powers too. I mean, we saw the claws.
Yeah.
We saw him start to bite the bad guy.
Was he a vampire? Because I
No,
have not
he,
read those.
He's spider venom. He bites.
Oh,
venom.
okay.
He bites. So it was cool. He almost did that.
Yeah.
We saw that. We touched on that.
Yeah, you saw the whole big arm. I guess that was part of the costume, not like interior, the big elbow
There's
slides.
there's extra arms.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. Okay.
He's got 8 legs. He's got 2 arms.
Yeah, I need to rewatch this thing again. I thought they were
It's part of the costume.
I thought they
Look
were
at
just
the
like
costume.
hooks.
You look at the costume. They're spider
Makes
legs.
a spider legs.
Oh, cool.
It's all good.
No,
It's
but
a really cool ass design.
Yeah, and we did see, you know, a lot of different versions of Spider-Man. You know, we saw a couple kind of ghetto mech ones. There was one that stood out to me. It was the gray, like
Ghetto
Iron
mech.
Man. Yeah, come on.
Ghetto mech.
Yeah, ghetto mech.
Okay.
It was like he built it in his garage. It wasn't the Iron Man mech, Iron Spider. You know, there was the big gray one that he did in the original cartoon from the 90s. No? Okay.
No, it was unlimited. I mean, there was.
Yeah.
Speaking of unlimited,
We also-
Spider-Man Unlimited was in there.
Yeah. I think we saw all different things because there's so much to see.
Yeah.
Like you say something, I'm like, oh, I missed that, and you say that, and I missed that.
Yeah.
You have to watch it 5 or 6 times
That's right.
before you start catching everything.
Yeah. I mean, you have to literally just
And
pause it and jot down
Unfortunately,
notes.
it's going to be a while before we get it on streaming because the rule with Disney, and that's what they're doing with Guardians right now, is if it's in the theater making money, it will not come to streaming. They
Yeah.
wait until it reaches a point, and then they'll drop it on streaming.
Well, it is kicking ass in the theaters, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably going to be.
So
a while.
Guardians is still kicking ass. That's
Yeah.
the reason they haven't announced a date for it because they're going to wait for it to quit making money
Yeah.
before they move it to
Yeah.
streaming. So they do.
I love the idea of quit making money. Oh, we only made $10 million this weekend. Yeah, let's go ahead and kick it into streaming. Like, yeah, it wasn't 20 mil. So.
Well, Spider-Man's going to make a bill at least.
Oh yeah, 100%.
At least.
Can't wait for it to go. You know, just to get the numbers worldwide because it's so well done. I mean, it really
It
is.
is.
And you know, we talk about it like being in a comic. And one of my favorite things about it is every Spider-Man had the same art style that they had in the comics. They were all drastically different, you know, and that was crazy to me. And I think a lot of the ways they accomplished that is the backgrounds were just kind of esoteric in a sense. They weren't like, this is a room and they're in here. They were always fluid. And I thought that was wonderful.
There's a
And
thought in every scene.
yeah,
It wasn't just we're going to do a sky background here. It was, no, this is going to reflect this and what's going on here and how he feels and what he's going through and what they are. You know, it was so much in everything. God, I need to see it 5 more times.
Yeah, I mean,
And y'all know I never say that. I never
Yes.
watch a movie immediately again.
Yeah.
yeah, and you were talking earlier about almost the changing backgrounds represented characters and the mood and the scene.
Yeah, it was like a mood ring. The first time I really caught it was when she hugged her father, and the scene went from like tones of blue and kind of dark to bright white. I was like, they're using the backgrounds to elicit mood.
Yeah. And I just,
No doubt.
they do so many little things in this movie that, you know, like Justin said, Ken sees this, I see this, he sees this. We all view it in a different way.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful in the movie. You know, that there are things we've missed that somebody else catches, you know, and things we catch somebody else has missed. And that's just, God. The very fact that Ken said he wants to watch it 4 or 5 more times, so do I, because I'm never going to see the same movie each time I watch it.
Right.
And damn, that is amazing for a movie, you know? And it's not like a choose your own adventure movie, you know, back when we were kids and they do those little things.
Yeah.
But this is just words really can't express it. You have to go see it and experience it.
I think you can tell that we liked it. If I did have any kind of complaint, it would be that the ending, the last, 15 minutes or so felt like a setup for the second movie, for the third movie. I turned to the person I was watching the movie with and said, you know, it kind of felt like the end of a season of a television show when you're setting up the next season. That's fairly small.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a big complaint.
My only complaint is that I didn't see a black suit Spider-Man. I didn't see a Venom at all. Not necessarily Venom, even a black suit.
Yeah.
That's about it. But maybe there's plans for later.
Yeah.
I'm saving it.
I didn't have any complaints. I'm fine.
Well, I think we've probably all given it 9s and 10s.
Sure.
It's up there.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the best ones.
Is there a better movie this year? I mean, Guardians was great, but holy shit, this one.
You know, I didn't. They came back and topped the first one, so I thought it was just so amazing. And I can't wait for the third one. I can't wait for Miles Morales live action. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just going to be crazy. You know, maybe we'll see him and Tom Holland getting exposed to the MCU together because nobody remembers him anymore.
Right.
Like, can you imagine that? Like, one covers Brooklyn, one covers the Bronx, or whatever.
His new friend, Miles Morales.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts.
They hate each other at first.
And they have to
That's what
fight.
you do. They have to fight. We always do that. We meet and we immediately fight. We don't talk.
Yeah. And then come together to defeat Fisk.
Did we just
That's
become
clear.
best friends?
Yep. Something can become best friends.
It's a moment.
And me and you. And me and Ken.
That's just kind of guy relationships. I mean, it's not even that straight. Man, I make fun of that trope a lot in comics, but that's just male camaraderie.
So from the heights and elation of a fantastic Spider-Man movie to this Thursday, Ken's just repeated depression will continue with the new Transformers movie.
I got big hopes. I mean, I expected to be brokenhearted again Thursday evening.
I hope so.
I'm going to be there watching it and hating it.
I witnessed the last one with him. It was sad to watch.
I kind of want to tag along to this one.
He
'cause
goes
I've never
in so
watched
happy.
him actually
The
die
Transform
inside.
movie, and then it's like,
I rewatched Bumblebee the other day, and just to get ready for this movie, because Bumblebee was a soft reboot. They are basically erasing the Bay movies. They've said that this one will continue the soft reboot. So
okay.
the Bayverse is more or less gone. It's
Okay.
there, but it's gone. So, and Bumblebee wasn't. It's the best one we have when it comes to these movies. It's got its problems, certainly. There's a lot of stupid shit in that movie, but it's got a couple of redeeming things. I mean, there's a couple scenes that are really good, but
I've always liked Bumblebee's character design.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I want him to look like he did in the Generation 1 cartoon. He has it's a different look entirely.
But hey, if you need someone to hide out of to save the day,
Call that. I never saw Bumblebee, honest to God.
it's Kate
Yeah.
from.
Oh, really? Is it?
Haley Stanfield.
Thank you.
I did not realize that.
Kate
Interesting. Man, she really moved up in the world of acting.
Okay, so we have Transformers coming up. That's what Ken is excited about. A week after that, we get Michael Keaton as Batman on the big screen again in The Flash. This DC nerd is so excited about this movie. I don't care what everyone says. I don't care what Ezra Miller's past. I want to watch an awesome DC movie, and everyone just needs to shut up and let me.
I don't think anyone is really worried about it being a bad movie. Everything we've
I mean,
read.
they are pre-screening it, and they're not afraid to show it. That's
Yeah.
a positive. because when a movie sucks, the studios
Oh, yeah,
won't
they
pre-screen
hide
it because they don't want those early reviews out. And they're bold and they're out there, and everybody there's a lot of great reviews for it already.
Except we heard today that there is a new secret ending, and that no one has seen this new secret ending.
That's right.
And it will only be premiered once, and that premiere will be just days before we all see it. What the hell is it? Will it be Superman? Do you think they've somehow managed to not only pick an actor, but secretly record a scene that they can throw in at the end? And if it is, it's got to be that David Cornswin, right?
Who's that?
It's what everyone's been talking about. Is he's been the front runner, and if you take a look at the pictures, I've never seen anything.
He's not the kid who played Elvis?
No,
that was
that's
the rumor
also
for a while.
Okay. The one that I'm hearing over and over is this kid. He looks like a young Henry Cavill before Henry put all the muscle on. I mean, he's got that all-American look. I think it could work. I don't know if he's a good actor or not, but
my first guess for a secret ending would be they replace Ezra Miller as the Flash. With everything going on. That's
very much don't expect that to
I wish I didn't go down that road.
No. I mean, I'm not talking about any of that, but it's we all
I feel
know
like that
about
kid's
what's going
getting a
on.
pass when others haven't. It just
Yeah.
is weird shit going on with that.
Well, we don't try and delve into that too
Not gonna.
much. But
and I just don't think if that movie makes $1 billion, I don't think they're going to do it.
keep that money maker coming.
Yeah, because the director went on the record this week saying that if he gets his way, he will not be recast.
That's okay. If we have some just linear things from the past of DC going into the future DC, Flash as that young character, that's a good one to go with.
Yeah. Y'all think Harley Quinn is dead as Margot Robbie if she comes over to the MCU?
I think that I think she's going to be rebooted. I mean, I think James Gunn he'll probably wait a few years,
Yeah.
but I think we'll get a new Harley Quinn. I think she's older. She's moved on. Even she loves the character, but she's just like everyone else.
Yeah.
She wants to move on as an artist.
Yeah.
And that's.
Screw
you, Chris Evans. You're going to come back. I want to move on as an artist.
I think DC does need to be looking at younger actors for the future. I think that's one of the things Marvel kind of didn't expect is they cast older actors and then it blew up, and so now they're going for younger and younger.
They totally made it up as they went along.
Oh yeah, it was never planned.
They've been honest about it from day
Yeah,
one.
that's one of the things I've loved.
But they made it work.
They
so
did.
That's the thing about putting the right butts in the right seats.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping DC does that and
I
starts
think
getting
they
it
will.
together.
I think James Gunn's going to fix it.
So yeah, I can't wait for the next DC stuff. You keep saying you're the DC guy, and we're just like, man, we want to watch them too.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hasn't always been the case.
No, it has not.
We say it all the time, and tonight is a pretty good example. It's a great time to be alive and be a nerd, so good stuff coming out in the next few weeks. Go out there and consume something nerdy. And as always, come talk to us about it at CNA.
We're always here for you. Let us know.
Excelsior.